We're beginning Chapter 6, New World Orders, of Trance, Formation of America, the true life story of a CIA mind control slave by Cathy Brien with Mark Phillips. There was no time to lose in bringing me back around to a functioning level. I knew I had work to do. Although I was to be used up by my 30th birthday, I do not believe it was Bush and Cheney's intention to expedite the process so quickly. Apparently, it was their incompetence due to overindulgence of drugs and subsequent abuse of Kelly in my presence that destroyed parts of my maternal-based programming. Regardless of their excuses, Houston drove us to San Francisco, California, where the Temple of Satan, Egyptian Satan that is, founder U.S. Army Lieutenant Colonel Aquino made some emergency repairs. I was not taken to a hospital or to a mental institution, but to a brain-mind research and development lab on the U.S. Army reservation at Presidio. There are many facilities, such as this one across the country at various CIA, military, and NASA compounds, where hyper-advanced government knowledge is put to the test, developed and modified. Those I met who had expertly learned the scientific mechanics of the brain in conjunction with the ins and outs of the mind used their gained secret knowledge to manipulate and or control others. The only thing Mark Phillips, Byrd, and Aquino had in common was the belief that secret knowledge equals power. Byrd explained to me that the New World Order powers were strengthened by allowing the mental health community only partial and or deliberate information through their organization lobby, the American Psychiatric Association, APA, and concerning treatment modalities for severe dissociative disorders being created through mind control. Perpetrators believed that withholding knowledge and the proliferation of perpetrators believed that withholding knowledge and the proliferation of deliberate misinformation allowed them control over their secrets, and subsequently over humanity. They may be correct if no one can or will react to the information presented in this book. Intended or not, I overheard a conversation pertaining to death and the mind between Aquino and a lab assistant as I lay on a cold metal table in a deep hypnotic state. Aquino was saying that I had become close to death numerous times, which increased my ability to enter other mind dimensions en route to death. I had listened to Aquino talk at length about such concepts before, as though he were trying to convince himself of some interdimensional time travel theory. Whether in principle or in theory, the results are the same, he claimed. The concept of time is abstract in itself. Hypnotic talk of past, he claimed. The concept of time is abstract in itself. Hypnotic talk of past, present, future set my mind in a spin that, when combined with Alice in Wonderland and NASA mirror world concepts, created an illusion of timeless wonderland. NASA mirror world concepts created an illusion of timeless dimensions. I now know that the only dimensions I experienced were elaborate memory compartmentalizations of real earthly events by real earthly criminals, and certainly not by aliens, Satan, or demons. After moving me from the table to an elaborate box, Aquino then shifted my mind to another area of my brain, claiming to have taken me into another dimension by way of death's door. This was accomplished while I was subjected to sensory deprivation combined with hypnotic and harmonic reprogramming. The seemingly coffin-like structure was transformed in my programming. The seemingly coffin-like structure was transformed in my mind to a crematorium, where I endured the sense of increasing heat while I slowly burned through hypnotic suggestion. Aquino then pulled me through death's door and into another dimension, void of time. Parts of my programming were recreated for the recreation of world leaders. In other words, President Reagan, Mexican President de la Madrid, and Saudi Arabian King Fahd. In my next recollection of awareness, Houston, Kelly, and I were in Hollywood, where Houston claimed the motorhome broke down, an overused attempted memory scramble. He sent me down the street to telephone Michael Dante, who lived nearby in Beverly Hills. Dante was expecting Kelly and me to join him in his Beverly Hills mansion for several days, as had been previously arranged by our handler, Alex Houston. Kelly and I waited at the phone booth as instructed until Dante arrived to pick us up in his midnight blue Ferrari. As soon as I sat down, Dante said, "I got something for you, baby. Give me your arm." Heroin was a common vice he shared with Bush, and he shot me up with the drug right in front of Kelly. Later that evening at his house, Dante told me that he refused to handle damaged goods, and that he would not be my next handler as previously planned. Not only was I not fit to live with him, but I was not fit to live at all. I am not certain of what he meant to accomplish by these threats, but I know in retrospect that this was not his decision to make. Besides, I never perceived existence with him and his professed love as a future anyway. Instead, he said he would go along with the original plan long enough to acquire Kelly. The next day, hours before I was to meet with De La Madrid, LA Dodgers baseball team manager Tommy Lasorda, George Bush Jr. and star pitcher of Junior's Texas Rangers, Nolan Ryan. By Junior, I'm assuming they mean George Bush Jr. Shit. The next day, hours before I was to meet De La Madrid, LA Dodgers baseball team, Tommy Lasorda, George Bush Jr., and star pitcher of Junior's Texas Rangers, Nolan Ryan, who was also a banker, were at Dante's house working out the details of money laundering and bank transactions for the imminent opening of the Juarez border cocaine, heroin, and white slavery route. The common bond of covert criminal activity overrode any professional baseball conflicts between them. All three were in town to be in attendance at various gatherings and parties of Reagan's. I'm just fucking up today, aren't I? All three were in town to be in attendance at various gatherings and parties of Reagan's, who would be arriving in a matter of days. And all three appeared to have an understanding of my function as Reagan's presidential model mind control sex slave. Dante was gathering the necessary clothes and props for the evening rendezvous with De La Madrid, Lasorda, Nolan Ryan, and Jr. were standing in the entrance of Dante's house, attempting to activate my baseball mind computer. Programmed personality fragment that had inadvertently been shattered by Bush and Cheney's traumas at Shasta. Dante told them, "She knows more about baseball than you and Tommy Lasorda put together. Go ahead and ask her something, anything." Much to Lasorda's amusement, Nolan Ryan asked, "How many times does Fernando Venezuela, Dodger pitcher, touch his hat if he's going to throw a screwball?" I could not respond, although I had once known more statistical data than would ever be in print. Junior hollered, "Hey Dante, what's with your baseball computer here, huh? Are we supposed to say a magic word?" "I don't know," Dante responded. "Could be drugs. Her sex is working fine, though. Give it a whirl." Junior declined, saying, "No thanks. The baseball computer sucks enough. Listen, we'll see you later." Junior had never shown any interest in me sexually, like his father. He had only shown sexual interest in Kelly, who had been away with him most of the day. As he turned to leave, he stroked me under the chin and cryptically said, "Have a ball night. Have a ball tonight." Yeah, have a ball tonight. Lasorda, who had not been on his ultra-slim, fast-sponsored diet yet, said, "Speaking of balls, mine could use a little attention here." He unzipped his pants. "Dante told me we got to get dressed. 3 minutes. 3 minutes was a trigger for me to perform a specific oral sex act. I knew on the floor and pushed up Lasorda's enormous belly, resting on my head as I groped for his penis as ordered. Dante's 2 Great Danes came in as junior, and Nolan Ryan left. I had been forced to participate in a bestiality film with these sex-trained dogs earlier that day, and I had to fight them off as I sexually gratified Lasorda before getting ready for the ball." Jesus Christ. There's a little footnote down here. Mark Phillips explained to me, by revealing their secrets, their power would diminish. Good always prevails through positive application, whereas the bad guys are hindered and slowed in their criminal endeavors through having to cover up their negative actions with lies to support lies. This inevitability allows the truth to emerge, Mark said. I can only handle so much of this shit, man. Yeah, I'm done.